member has up to 5 minutes, and the minister has up to 5 minutes to respond.
Thank you, Speaker. Yesterday I asked the Minister of Tourism what this government strategy is for promoting tourism in the Northwest, and I did not receive an answer. Nor did I receive an answer last year when I asked on nearly 24 occasions for the Minister to explain why the travel information centers in Fort Frances, Rainy River, and Kenora were closed, while other centers at less busy border crossings remained open. This has been a major concern because here we have an industry, tourism, that is essential to our northern economy, yet the minister in charge of protecting and promoting that industry has no knowledge, nor has he attempted to gather knowledge of a very significant part of our province's economy. Speaker, each year tourism in the Northwest contributes more than $430 million into the provincial economy. With the downturn of our province's forest industry, many communities in the Northwest became more and more reliant on tourism, whether it's cottagers and other visitors from Manitoba and other western provinces coming to Kenora and Lake of the Woods, or a huge influx of visitors from the United States Midwest who visit hunting and fishing lodges scattered throughout more rural areas of the riding of Kenora-Rainy River. While small in size, these mom-and-pop operators make significant contributions to our local economy. I know this firsthand because my parents operate Lac Seul Onaway Lodge, and each week they, just like dozens of similar operators, spend thousands of dollars on groceries for their guests, gas for their boats, and minnows and other supplies that help fuel our economy. Despite the tourism industry in many ways being the backbone of our economy, these operations have not received the respect they deserve from a Ministry of Tourism that has taken no steps to alleviate the impacts of bad government policy that it has had on our region's operators. The minister and his department haven't taken the time to learn about the market area, and for much of the last year they justified closing the centers in my riding while keeping a center in Pigeon River near Thunder Bay open by saying that it served a vital U.S. tourism market. I agree that American tourists are vital, but border crossing statistics show that in Fort Frances and not Pigeon River is the primary entry point, at some points during the year serving almost twice as many visitors. In fact, the ministry's own statistics show that not only did the travel center in Fort Frances continue to serve significantly more visitors, but the decline in visits in Pigeon River was much steeper in the last 10 years than any of the three that they chose to close. In fact, the minister's own parliamentary assistant, the member from Niagara Falls, even conceded as much in an interview with the Kenora Daily Miner newspaper last year. He said, I quote, "I've given that to the Minister of Tourism, Michael Chan's office chief of staff, and said, quote, let's look at this. Let's talk to the bureaucrats who have given you the advice that they should be closed to see if they're taking into account the factors that Sarah mentioned." And he said, "I'm prepared to take it forward. It's a valid series of concerns." Instead, the ministry chose to close the centers in favor of its travel application for smartphones, where it once again failed to verify the effectiveness of this policy. Had they have done the necessary groundwork, they would have found out that much of the Northwest, including most of the areas where tourist businesses are operating, are dead zones for this technology. Not only that, but this app, which was created by this government and heralded as being a bona fide replacement for the travel information centers, isn't unique, and it doesn't reflect the experiences that we are trying to market, such as nature, hunting, and fishing. Further, the biggest insult is that when you take the time to explore the app, you quickly discover that it completely fails to include any meaningful content for the Northwest. This at a time when we are put at a competitive disadvantage by this government's HST, a tax that does not exist in northern Minnesota and Manitoba. And now this government is allowing billboards promoting outdoor recreation such as hunting and fishing in Manitoba, the business our operators in Kenora-Rainy River need, to be put up all across the Northwest. So I will ask again, what is this government's plan? The tourist operators in my region deserve answers, and the answers they have received to date are not supported by any facts.
Minister.
Yeah, thank you very much, Speaker. The member opposite should talk about this issue about a year ago, and here we go. We're going to talk about the same issue last year, I think. my PA last year responded to a question, but anyway, I'm going to try that one more time today. Speaker, it's really a pleasure to rise today in the House and speak to our government strategy to support tourism in Northern Ontario. It's no secret that the tourism industry, the tourists, and the ways in which the market and consumers interact have changed. We find that Ontario tourism information centres throughout the province were experiencing declining demand, not just in the year prior to closure or 5 years prior to closure, but for the past 10 years, Speaker, visitation decreased by 50 to 80% in Fort Frances, Kenora, and Rainy River. We saw people relying less on holdings. We heard a call for greater accessibility in the information age. And we responded in recognition that marketing is much more than keeping underperforming holdings. It requires a decisive approach. It demands innovation. It calls for us to think outside the box and leverage the tools necessary to bring tourists to our great province that include Northwestern Ontario and Northern Ontario. Speaker, our government deploys a robust tourism strategy in the north by providing necessary tourism infrastructure. We established the new Regional Tourism Organization in Region Number 13, one that covers Northern Ontario with over 18 million from 2010 to 2014 to effectively draw upon our tourism assets in the north, aggressively market Northern Ontario to other centres, including Minnesota, Toronto, and Ottawa, and to drive the economy in our northern communities by increased visitation. Speaker, allow me to remind you that before RTO 13 and our 18 million support for Northern Ontario, there were zero ministry dollars invested in a northern tourism strategy. Not even a penny, Speaker, but through RTO 13, our government increased the tourism support to the north by 80 million. And we did not stop there. On top of that, we invested approximately 5 million annually since 2003 for the Ontario Tourism Marketing Partnership Corporation's Northern Ontario budget. We supported festivals and events, over 130 events in Northern Ontario through Celebrate Ontario, employing thousands of Ontarians annually, many of them youth. We introduced a tourism presence in the Ministry of Transportation's 23 new high-traffic highway services center. We continue to operate our travel information call center, a toll-free service for tourists to access a travel counselor. We direct the OTMPC to develop a web-based portal to provide tourism information to visitors within our borders and beyond. Speaker, we as a government have been proud partner of tourism in the north, committing over 68 million since 2003 that include Kenora-Rainy River and Fort Frances, proactively profiling our tourism assets for visitors as they begin to plan their vacations, realigning our tourism marketing online services, and stepping up Ontario's 24/7 electronic and internet-based travel marketing presence to meet consumers' travel research and booking preferences. Speaker, when something is not working, we must find new ways. We must change the course. We must adapt. Our market has changed, evolved, and transformed. With tourism in Northern Ontario is to be successful, it needs to compete with other jurisdictions. And more travelers turn to the internet to organize their trip. We are meeting the expectation of the competitive travel market by focusing our effort on enhanced internet-based services. Speaker, with new technologies, with new communication tools, with new access to information, we need a new way. We need a way forward.
Thank you.